He's got an editor, Nick. Anyway,
having an editor is nice.
Yeah, it's just that, like, it sounds like it would be really convenient, because Kovar is his name, right,
Yeah,
Josh? Yeah, it sounds like it would be convenient, but it's just like I am so meticulous as an editor.
No, I know what you mean.
That I don't think anybody ever could satisfy my...
I feel like one thing that would be horrible to do is you're writing a script. You'd have to lay out where the gameplay clips are in the script, because the person who's editing would never know where the clips are that you have in your mind that you want to match up with your script.
Well, I always keep track of, like, as I'm playing, I'll note down, okay, here's an interesting part that happened, here's something that I know I'm going to want to talk about, you know, things like that.
Right, but do you do that for everything?
Not literally everything, but, you know, most of the games that I cover tend to be pretty linear, so you can kind of tell, like... And I always split, like, with, what I've been playing lately is Sonic Advance 3, so I'll always split my video files up by, okay, here's, like, this level, here's this zone, here's the characters I'm playing as, so, you know, and I was doing that before, like, Kovar started editing for me anyway, so...
Yeah.
It just made it easier for me to find stuff and keep track of stuff.
Yeah, I do that too, but still, I feel like when you are the one who played the game, and you are the one who wrote the script... It's way easier to know, and it's I feel like there would be a better matchup between gameplay clips and script in that regard.
There probably would be, I guess.
Hey, I'm back for a sec.
Oh, and Sudden Nick.
Just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. I had a great time. It was fun talking to you all. And I guess I'll see you in the last story.
It's been fun, man. Thanks for being on.
See you later, Nick.
Bye, Nick. Oh, there he goes.
I guess
looks like those creeps are guarding a cage.
But yeah, Exo, I know what you mean. Like, Kovar is absolutely ideal because he's been watching my stuff since the very beginning. He's been helping me, edit my scripts for years and years and years now. If anybody knows what a Geek Critique video should look like as much as I do, it's him.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like, I do always, like, what we've been doing is he'll render out, like, a version of the video with no music, and then he'll include just his music track, and then I'll take that into my editor and do, like, a final polish, and, like...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, I mean, like,
I hope you're not rendering a whole video and then putting it into a timeline.
Unfortunately, right now we are, because we're using different video editors. But I know that's a problem.
I feel like if it works for people, that's great. I just feel like editing is like the whole part of the process. I feel like if I'm not editing my video, I feel like I would be missing 50% of making the video. Do you not feel that? Do you not miss editing?
Well, editing's boring and annoying.
I love...
Is writing scripts any better?
Like, I love...
Yes.
I enjoy video editing a whole lot. I don't enjoy audio editing at all, but...
Yeah. Well, I think we can all relate to that much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, editing can be tedious, but everything that you do often is tedious. So... I still think it's rewarding to do the editing stuff, even though it can be tedious. The only thing I would gladly hand over is audio editing, because that crap's just tedious as hell.
Well, I guess
there is no sort... And audio editing is just like... nothing feels good about it. It doesn't feel rewarding to do. It's just, it has to be done.
Well, like, here's an example
but even
of, like,
that,
sort of...
it's just like, what you think a good take sounds like that you would want in your final video might sound different to you than
that's the thing. Like, I don't feel like anybody but me could audio edit, because, like, if I was editing somebody else's work and I came across, like, okay, that's a part that they might want to record or re-record, like, it'd be really complicated to say, like, hey, you might want to re-record this. Like, it's so much easier for me to just do it myself while I'm sitting there, and I can do that. Because I do often, re-record certain sections.
That is true, but if there's anything I would gladly hand off, it's audio editing.
The thing is, as far as having a video editor goes, is like here's an example of where it can really like help and how you might look at it. Like, I would never want to be in a position where I had to produce content so frequently that I had to rely like on an editor, and the video had to go up right then, and I didn't get to make a final pass at it. But the thing is, like, the first video of mine that Kovar edited on was Sonic Adventure 2, and you know, he was still kind of like learning the style and learning some things. So what we kind of ended up with was that he had this like skeleton framework of like gameplay footage. It was almost purely gameplay footage that I could then go in and build off of. So like, I took his completed video and I spent like 3 or 4 days just working on it myself and adding in all kinds of different effects and changing things up and doing like the kind of time-consuming stuff that if I had to edit the entire video myself, I might not have felt like I had the time or the energy for.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think for me, making videos is ever something any part of it I would offload to somebody else, because for one, it's not my main job. It's not like I have time pressure to get anything out. So I think I will always...
Thundercloud.jpg.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I wanted to say that, but I kind of forgot. I hate the practice of 6th gen games where they'll have like 2D images in the environment in the background. It looks terrible. I hate that.
It was kind of necessity for the time.
Yeah, it was kind of necessity, but it looks like shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like, even when I was a kid, I thought something looked off about that. I couldn't articulate it.
Well,
and I know EXO hates pre-rendered backgrounds. I know EXO hates pre-rendered backgrounds, but I think at least when they aren't compressed, like on an N64 game like Ocarina of Time, I think at least it's consistent. At least that's what you're seeing all the time. So there's not like a jarring mismatch between 3D environment and then some flat image that clearly looks disjointed. I mean, the interactable objects are, of course, in Final Fantasy, the PlayStation 1 games and stuff like that, but at least the entire game looks that way.
That is true. There isn't that juxtaposition of being in Hyrule Field with those bland grass textures, walking into Hyrule Town Market, and then suddenly everything has a lot more detail, but it also looks really compressed.
Yeah, especially with PlayStation, because they had the discs. You know, it didn't have to be compressed a lot. So, it was a lot clearer, and the 240p kind of... I almost want to say kind of blends the 3D models and the pre-rendered backgrounds together nicely. Like, you know, and especially on the CRT, I think you can agree with that. If you play like Final Fantasy VII on the CRT, it probably doesn't feel like there's that big of a juxtaposition like in Zelda.
RZ's the only person here who isn't in the PVM club.
Fuck you.
I would love to get a PVM, actually. I've gotten really into CRT gaming over the past couple of months. I found
EXO, here's the thing. I'm being discriminated against
I know that you live in
I'm in Europe,
and you have to import an NTSC PVM in order for it to be compatible with the consoles you use, and then that's really expensive. I know that.
That's just not an option because, well, for one, they arrive broken like 50% of the time when they're shipped across the sea, and secondly, the shipping costs are ridiculous. So, yeah. Unfortunately, it's out of the question. But an OSSC with an OLED TV looks beautiful anyway, so I'll take that.
No, I found this huge Sony Trinitron that's like so heavy that there's no way that I can pick it up the stairs, and I still haven't found like anything to even set it on, so it's just sitting on the floor because it's very hard to find a TV stand nowadays that'll actually hold that much weight because it weighs something like 220 pounds. But it does have component inputs. I got HD Retrovision cables for the Genesis and this converter for the Saturn. I've really been enjoying that thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What's really nice about a PVM, Josh, as opposed to like a consumer CRT like a Trinitron, is that it has a pass-through on it.
Yeah, you know, I've never actually...
Not all of them do.
Well, mine does anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I really
enjoy that because it means that, you know, low latency on the CRT And also, I don't have to use a splitter to reduce, which, reduces the quality of the signal when you split it.
I think the PVMs actually have components in it that kind of boost the signal when they get split in half, when they pass through,
I might have to talk to you about finding a good PVM, because I don't really, like, I've looked at them before, but I don't really understand, like, how you hook anything up to them right now.
Yeah,
well, the problem
they
with
have
PVMs...
these Bink inputs, but it's you can find, like, literally things that go on the end of RCA cables. Like, you just plug them on the end of an RCA cable and then screw it on. It's easy, and they're cheap, too.
Exo, don't you also have, like, either a FrameMeister or a OSSC, don't you?
I have both.
Wow!
I don't
also
use
have
both. Yeah, I got a FrameMeister first, and then I took the plunge in the OSSC when RZ here was like, I don't know if it'll be worth it. And then I got it, and then I showed him those perfect pixels from Mega Man Legends 2, and he's like, maybe I will have to check it out.
And now I'm completely OSSC cam. Fuck the FrameMeister.
Yeah.
Do you still use it at all?
No. I might use it, because, like, what... You're gonna laugh at me, RZ. But I'm moving into a new place, and I'm thinking that I might get a 720p screen just for 720p games, so that I don't have to upscale it to 1080p and get blurry pixels.
No, I've actually been looking into those a little bit lately. The FrameMeister is expensive as fuck, though. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the OSSC is cheaper, and it looks better.
Right.
You have to have the right settings for it, and the right cables and stuff.
And the right equipment, too. If you have an Elgato, you're pretty much fucked.
Like, I can recommend a good capture card for you, Josh, that'll work with that.
Yeah, but then you're at the price of a FrameMeister combined of them.
Yeah, but you're also getting better quality.
True.
I don't know. It's when you can get it working right, like the footage looks. But then again, I don't know if you're really a fan of those hard, sharp pixels, Josh.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably so. I don't see why not.
Well, I think I remember you seeing on Twitter doing getting some kind of device for the Dreamcast cables. I think the M cable to reduce jaggies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you wouldn't be into the perfect pixel stuff then.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, you can like perfect pixels for 240p, but not like them for anything above.
Yeah, right. I'm one of those weirdos who likes perfect pixels for even 3D games.
No, the main reason I got the M cable was actually more for the Switch, because a lot of, like, first-party Nintendo titles run very well, but look pretty dithered.
I remember telling RZ that dithering was making a comeback, and he was just like, Exo, what are you talking about?
Like, they have, like, very sharp lines around the edges of the models.
Oh yeah, that's because all the games run at some garbage resolution, like 900p, and then they use bilinear filtering to upscale it to 1080p.
I am actually super, super happy that Nintendo tends to prioritize, like, Mario Odyssey runs at 60 frames per second. Whatever they have to do to get there is worth it to me.
But I personally would prefer, instead of taking 900p and blowing that up to 1080p with blurry filtering, I'd prefer to just have a 900p frame with a bunch of black around it in a 1080p frame.
Yeah, okay, you're the only one.
You are the only one, yeah. Everybody else.
Well, that's how it would look in my video anyway when I finish editing it.
Yeah.
That's just the way I prefer it. I do not like that blurry shit. That is why I want to get a 720p TV, specifically for games that run at 720p.
Are there 720p TVs? I think most of them are
they
not
still sell
720
them.
native.
Yeah, I was surprised. They still make them.
But are they native 720? I believe a lot of them are like some kind of different resolution.
No, my first
HD
TV was like 720p.
Okay.
And like it could still take a 1080 signal, but Yeah,
downscales it.
Yeah.
Looks like
it's funny, Exo, looking back now, when I'm playing some games in 4K on PC, you go to 720p, it's like, this is unbearable to look at.
Yeah. Like, playing a game in native 4K is like staring into a window of an alternate dimension.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We're definitely to the point now where I see even late last gen games, and I'm like, man, we've actually come a long way now.
It's funny. I look at PS3 games now, and I think they look like garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, people always talk about how amazing Sonic Unleashed looks, and then you play it again, and you look at how the angle filtering on the textures and how blurry they get, and how low res the textures are, and the fact that the game runs in an anamorphic 720p resolution.
And the models look clean.
Yes.
And the lighting looks great, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah, Unleashed also just
the textures
ran really
look terrible, the performance is terrible, the resolution is anamorphic, which is always a big no-no for me, if the console can help it.
But now, I think we're now at a point when you look at something like, Devil May Cry 5 that just came out, just a lot of games now in general, you look at them and you're like, will these look as terrible 10 years from now? Because some of them have such rounded objects now that it's almost impossible to see any sort of...
Honestly, yeah, no, I think they probably will look bad. They probably you'll be able to see it 10 years from now. Like, I remember playing like Shenmue for the first time and thinking, man, I don't see how it could ever get better than this, but it always does.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some stuff that's clearly off. A lot of the times, hair rendering in games still doesn't look the best. We're getting better with that. Because it's just a flat
texture on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, hair is just super difficult to render and make it look realistic, because you have to render individual hair strands for it.
Yes.
Which
I think
always a part that looks
that
off.
might be the reason why the Werehog still runs like garbage, even though it's simpler. It's because they have to render the fur.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you know, like, it's kind of funny that we still have a lot of problems with that, because I remember everybody was really impressed with Star Fox Adventures for, if nothing else, because there wasn't a lot to be impressed with. But, you know, the way that Rare rendered the fur in that game was like something out of like the next generation, and that was really, really early on the GameCube.
But then I do think, we still got quite a ways to go as well, because some people are like, whoa, this looks like actual Pixar now. It doesn't. It still doesn't. Kingdom Hearts 3 does not look like an actual Pixar film, as much as you want to believe that.
It could pass for a DVD movie from 2008, though. It is a huge step forward for the series. Mm-hmm. We had been looking at PS2 models for so long.
Yeah,
at that point.
in the context of Kingdom Hearts, but look, even Toy Story 1, in some ways, it obviously looks worse than Kingdom Hearts 3, but in some ways, it still looks a lot better.
I saw it a couple days ago, and I was surprised at how well the CG holds up.
I don't think, like, I haven't seen it recently.
The lighting in the original Toy Story is still better than Kingdom Hearts 3. By far. I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the CG movie, you know, it doesn't have to run in real time and stuff. There are a lot more variables.
Like, if you look at Woody in Toy Story 1 and then compare it to Kingdom Hearts, he's still more rounded, and the lighting still looks better, I think, in the original movie than it does in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well,
I mean, that's true, but, you know, it is a theatrical release still. It's got the bigger budget.
But that's why people, when they say it looks better than Pixar now, it does not, especially compared to Pixar from today.
Like, there's still, like, no pre-rendered, like, not pre-rendered, there's still no game that has, like, the detail of something like the space opera scene in WALL-E.
Yeah.
And that's
just way too complex to render in real time.
So, I guess
I remember once, during a class I took, whatever, they would talk about the difference between the production value of a game versus a movie. And they would talk about how, like, you know, objects on a character's back clipping through other objects that they're carrying around is acceptable in a video game, but not a movie. And that's the difference. And it's like,
even with modern games today, I still feel and always still feel like I'm looking at something virtual, something rendered out by a computer, and I don't have that with CGI of today at all. You know?
I mean, that's interesting because I still do. I still think
well, yeah, but
I haven't seen anything that's like photorealistic CGI.
No, true, but when you look at especially when you see character models of even games of today up close, you still kind of see that it's not as rounded as something in real life, you know, and that the lighting and the way it works on material is just not there as it is in real life.
Keep unplugging my headphones by accident. Anyways.